All right, bro. We gotta keep this grease fire burning because the Crisco. What? All right, so we're gonna move on. I was working on Dan in the last video. In the last video, I did his idle animation. I did some tweaks to the fabrics on his pants, his belt, and I also added a blinking animation to the character. Now I'm gonna go ahead and tweak his crouch. So open them up. Let's go through. Here's the animations that I made. There it is. I did what's called the prep frames or the physics drop for his hair, his pants, and his belt. And also you'll notice he has a blink, a slight blink in his idle animation there. Also I slightly tweaked the pants to the fabric specifically by his foot or his ankle to have a little bit more movement. And this is the result. Specifically for this prep frame, three, I think it's too smooth for the pants. But then again, I like to think of Dan as like a rich Ryu. So he would be wearing better. He'd be wearing like a silk gi, or he'd be wearing a better material or fabric for his gi, and it would flow more. So I guess that's fine. Let's just move on. So 11 should be the crouching animation. Here's the crouch animation. Dang, of course. So naturally, the crouch animation is one frame, which is this sprite, which is based on group 11, index 0. Um, I have to animate this, so I'm going to let's start with the prep frames. I'm gonna quickly just make a duplicate. The duplicate I'm gonna name triple one. I'm just gonna edit this triple one. We'll zoom in, and these are gonna be my prep frames. So for my prep frames, the first thing I'm gonna focus on here is a physics drop, and naturally that physics drop is gonna be on his pants, of course. So on this top layer, I'm gonna blow up the eraser about 3 points. I'm going to make sure that I didn't shift his ankle up specifically when I did the shift up for his pads. Yeah, his ankle's fine. I'm going to go to the bottom layer, delete anything underneath what I just moved up, i.e. the bottom of his pants. Put the eraser down on 1 point. Get that. Blow the eraser back up to 3. I'm going to go on the top layer. Make sure I didn't take his thigh with the shifting of his pants there. Vitally important. And do a slight trim on the knee just to be safe there. Don't want any artifacting. Okay. Keep in mind it's the top layer. And I'm going to do a slight tweak to the lighting, specifically the shadow or the shadow underneath his pants here. I'm just gonna move it up just to give a better indication that his pants are shifting up on a foreground frame. You probably didn't understand that, but it's whatever. Okay, and that's frame one. Save it out, close it out, make a duplicate of this triple one, and I'm gonna call that duplicate triple two. I'm gonna open that up, edit this, and I'm gonna do even more movement. This time for the movement, no, I want to keep shifting. I'm going to shift this pad some more, slightly lower. Copy, paste, shift up. Put the eraser on 3 point. Delete any artifacting behind the pants that I just shifted up to be safe. Okay, go to the bottom layer. On the bottom layer, delete anything behind what I just shifted up. Put the eraser on 1 point. Delete underneath here. Okay, jump back to the top layer. Blow the eraser up to about 3. Just do a slight trim around everything. Big stickler for artifacting. Gonna shift this shadow up on the top layer here, underneath the pants, like so. Hmm. Since the pen, maybe I can move this shadow. No, that's fine. That's fine for now. It's not a big deal. Think about trimming his leg though. I don't think it will hurt. Yeah, I don't think it will hurt to put a pixel right here, just to indicate that more of his leg is being shown there. Okay, I'm gonna save it out, close it out. I'm going to, what else? I'm thinking his belt. Loki, I think his belt should move up too. I'm gonna do a slight tweak. Let's get arty farty here. Do just a very slight tweak to his belt. Just shift that belt up a little bit, like that. Shift over the shading to coincide or to match the tweak I just made for the belt, like so. And that's fine. It's just a slight bend on the belt. And I could even delete a little bit here on the belt towards his crotch there, with a slight, very slight shift up right here, just to indicate it's bending in. I think that'll be fine. Save it, close it. I'm gonna duplicate this frame. I'm gonna name the duplication 333. I'm gonna open this frame up. I'm gonna do the same modification because this took a little more work. I'm gonna focus on this a little more. Remember, these are the prep frames, which means they only play one time before the actual idle starts to loop, or before the actual idle plays itself. These are the frames that are gonna show, or going to show. All right, I think that'll work. I think this does a trick here. Shift that build over just slightly. Then I'm gonna trim. Gotta do some art here. Trim this bad boy, just moving in slightly. Again, the belt is bending up, or it's coming from an upward position. So it'll be shaped like this. Without a doubt, it'll be shaped like this. Okay? Now notice that shadow too. My instincts telling me this should all be shaded like that. Okay, so there's slightly more bend to the belt. I actually want the his right, your left, that part of the belt to move up too. Just a little bit though. So I'm gonna do a little bit of trim work here, like that. And that should give off the vibe, or it should indicate that there's some movement here for this portion of the belt too. A little bit of trim work, save that out. That looks good. I don't think I tweaked this pants. Yeah, I don't think I tweaked this pants again this time. But this is frame 3, so I'll leave it. For now. I'll leave it the way it is. I'm gonna back out. For frame 1, I need to focus on the physics drop for his hair. So I'm just gonna get artsy fartsy, just draw it in like so. Put his shoulder back. I could immediately tell that's supposed to be the top of his shoulder right there. So I'm gonna just do like that. Save that, close that. I'm gonna jump forward. This should have more bend to it. So, same old shtick, color pick, draw it in. As you can see, it goes slightly further out. Delete any artifacting or whatever remains behind what I just drew in. Get that shoulder. Just shifting the pink over on the shoulder. Okay, save it, close it, jump over to the third and final one. And this one should really move up. So for this one, I'm going to color pick the brown. Go back to the pencil on one point. I'm going to draw it in much higher than the other two were. Get the eraser tool, delete what's left over. And that should be it. That should give me that look I'm wanting here. Put that pink back on the shoulder. Save it out. Close it out. Save the sprites in total. And I think I need a blink. So there's 3, 2, 1. Look how beautiful that looks. Now I'm going to back out. I'm going to go to 0 frame or group 11 index 0. I'm going to duplicate that and I'm going to create my blink animation. My blink animation is going to sit on the 111. So I'll just name it 1110 instead of the 111 that I used for the physics drop. Open that bad boy up and just simply draw an eyelash over his pupil and cornea or put the eyelash over his eye like that, that should suffice as a blink. Save it, close it, save it, jump into the animation, open the animation up, and here's where the work comes in. So I'm assuming the CLSN2 or the collision box data here. I'm going to highlight it. One sec, highlight it in blue. This collision box data, I'm pretty sure pertains to every frame that's underneath. So all I need to do here is create my frames in order. So what I'm going to do is make an unreadable text called prep. It shouldn't be read in a coding due to it having a semicolon in the front of it. I'm going to make a few spaces here. I'm going to make another unreadable text. It's going to be my idle because that's what comes next in my animations here. And then I'm just going to copy and paste each one of these frames in here. My prep frames consists of 3 frames, which is 111 and 333. I gotta remember my idle. It's just that. It's just a simple idle, which is this 1 frame 11-0, which is sitting on according to this is sitting on 1 frame, which I'll tweak in a second. And then my blink, throw my blink in here. And my blink should be 1110. I'm gonna label that now so I don't forget later. I'm going to properly name these. So it should be, I think it should go in reverse sequence. So I'm gonna put 333, which is the highest of the physics drop, 222, which is second highest, and then 111, which is right before it goes into the main idle animation. For the speed, I'm gonna do two. I'll do two. It's just 2 frames per second for the speed of the physics drop. For the initial idle, I want the initial idle to last about. Oh, I have to animate this crouch too. I still haven't animated it. I'll put 200 here temporarily just for now. And then for the blink animation, I'll put. I typically do 5. I'll do 3. I'll give him a fast blink animation. I'm going to go ahead and preemptively put the loop start so that the idle repeats itself. I'm not done with this animation, by the way. I still haven't really animated it. So there's the loop start. So the loop start just makes the idle this, everything underneath it repeat. So I'm going to apply, close. I'm going to jump over. The CLSN isn't, it's not defaulted. I'm going to click on the CLSN. Let me save it out first. Save it. Don't worry, Studio's not really prone. It's not prone to crashing, but still, it's software. Software crashes. I'm going to try to make this a default. I'm going to click the other CLSN box. I'm going to try to make this a default too. Switch out content between regular. Yeah, I'm going to make that default too, and it worked. Awesome. Okay, so that should apply to everything. Yep. Okay, so now you can see it there, the physics drop. Now I have to edit the default frame, which is this, and I have to animate this crouch. So I'm going to save out the animation, go over to the sprites, save my sprites. I'm going to make a duplicate of 11.0. I'm going to name that duplicate. Where did I leave off? I'm going to be smart here. I'm going to do 001. So it's going to be 001 for the first duplicate that I'm making here. And for this first frame of the animation, I want to I want him to tighten up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, well, I have to be smart here, but I'm going to shift this arm in. I'm going to blow the eraser up to about 3 points, delete any artifacting or remaining pixels around the arm that I just shifted over. which is very important. Okay, I got to keep in mind I shifted this arm over one to the right, so that means everything to the left is going to show artifacting. So I have to be very careful here. Editing these sprites is very dangerous, by the way. Okay, so this is where it gets tricky. So I can't get too close. I'm going to drop the eraser down to about 3 points. One, two, three. All right, and I'm going to delete what's up here, all the artifacting. I'm going to try my best to trace the back of his hand. Okay, while keeping in mind the arm shifts over, so I can delete all that. This I didn't mean to delete though. I might want some of the gi to shift over to up top outside of the flesh on his arm. All right, trim the back of this arm here. There we go. There's the mistake. I was trying to be careful not to make. Carefully trim the back of this arm here. Ah, I'll fix that in a second. I got too close to the arm. I created artifacting there. I hate when I do that. All right, since I'm still sitting on the top layer, I'm just gonna take that brown, or rather the pink of the gi, and I'm just gonna shift it down slightly behind his arm. All right, I'm gonna jump over to the eraser. I'm gonna blow the eraser up to about 6 points because I'm deleting artifacting around the arm, and it saves me time to just make the eraser super big during this process or this phase of the process. Okay, and I'm just deleting everything around the fist that I just shifted over, i.e., any stray pixels that might remain. Okay, so there we go. That arm should fully shift over. I want that arm to flex. Oddly enough, I want his arm to flex too. So I'm going to do, let's get artsy fartsy here. I'm just going to shift the lighting on his arm slightly up, just a little bit. And I'm going to increase the indentation around his biceps, like so. And that should give like a, he's flexing. So his biceps should slightly flex there. Another thing I want to do, I want to increase the shadowing on his forearm just slightly to show a little more flexing too. I think that's it. I'm gonna drop the layer just to double check. Redrop the layer. Yeah, that's perfect. So there you go. His fist is fully shifting in there. Low key, I'm thinking the black. Low key, I'm thinking the black around his fist isn't shading. It's not an outline. I think I just tricked myself. So I'm gonna delete everything around the fist there. That's black, like so. I'm pretty sure that's his shirt that I'm looking at, or rather his undershirt, but it's not his fist. All right, so I can save it, close it, reopen it, because that's not it. So that arm shifts in because he's tightening up. I'm gonna grab his left, your right, that fist, and I'm going to shift that fist in because his body's tightening up, and your hands turtle slightly when you tighten up. I'm gonna trim the artifacting. I'm on the back layer or the bottom layer. I'm just trimming the artifacting that's left over behind the fist. I'm going to shrink the eraser down to about 2 points. I'm going to delete any artifacting in front of the fist towards his face. So I'm just carefully trimming around his fist here to make sure I didn't shift over anything I shouldn't have, which would be disasters, by the way. Okay. All right. I'm gonna drop the layer just to double check. Okay. Remember, I have art brain. I know what I'm doing here. You might not understand it. Yeah, and that's it. I just want to shift that fist in slightly. I'm gonna save it out, close it out, and that should be frame double. I'm gonna call it 110. So for frame 110, he's just slightly clenched his fist up there. So I'm gonna duplicate frame 110. I'm gonna rename 110 to 220 or 220, and I'm gonna open this up, and I'm just gonna proceed to do even more animation here. So for his movement, what could I do here? I need him to move. I want him to move. I hate that static. I don't like him being static. And I'm trying to turtle him up. I guess a good way to turtle the character up. Actually, I want to shift, man. I want some movement. I'm gonna move him forward. Screw that, man. I want movement. So I'm gonna copy and paste the entire upper part of his body, his upper torso, all the way down to his thighs. I'm gonna jump in here, blow the eraser up, make the eraser pretty big. I'm gonna sit on this top layer and trim the things on the top layer I don't want to move, which of course his thigh can't shift over because he's sitting. His feet can't shift over either because his feet are planted on the ground. He can have the shifting here towards his ankle, his left ankle. And these are things on the top layer. So I'm going to jump on the bottom layer and I'm going to do what's called deleting artifacting, which is everything behind what I just shifted. And I'm going to do it like so. And he's shifting forward slightly. So everything behind him I can get rid of. And it shouldn't give me any pushback. And I believe I went all the way down to his ankle here. Don't worry about that leg. I'm gonna tweak the leg later. I have to get artsy fartsy and like draw that in. All right, full shift in there. I'm gonna save it, close it, reopen it. I'm going to draw that leg in properly. That leg is it's a little chewed up now because after the shift there. So I'm just gonna quickly fix that. There we go. I think there should be more there. Wait, I did a simple shift. Yeah, that's fine, man. That's fine for now. All right, everything shifted over. Sorry, I'm just quickly skimming over, making sure there's no issues here. I'm thinking that lighting would shift too on his left ankle. That lighting should shift up like that. Yeah, I think that's a good look. Okay, so his entire torso, his upper body, and part of his thigh, all the way down to his left ankle, all of that stuff should just shift forward now. So I'm gonna save it, close it, duplicate this frame. I don't need to double check it either. I'm sure it's perfect. Rename it triple O. I'm gonna regret saying that later. I'm gonna rename it to double O, or rather double 30 or 330 or yeah 330. I like 330. I'm gonna rename it. I renamed it to 330. So now I have to tighten them up. I want them to turtle even more. And for this one, I want to do something special. I want to. I'm going to shift this. No, let's start with his head. I'm going to first shift his head downward. Just one frame. I want his head to go down. It's going to be a little tricky, but I can pull it off. Okay, so I want his head to like turtle. I want his head specifically to turtle inward. I want him to kind of hide his neck a little bit. I'm going to go to the back layer. I know none of the stuff back here is going to shift. Wait, that eraser's too big. I'm going to 3-point the eraser. Go behind the head. Trim all the stuff behind the head. Because I don't need any of the stuff behind the head here. Okay, I'm going to jump back to the top layer. I'm going to trim the things on the head that I don't want to shift down, which is going to be slightly behind his ear. Of course, below his chin here. I have to be super careful here. Slightest mistake, it's a wrap. Okay, I got under his chin. I'm doing the front of his face. The eraser's pretty big too. Just make sure there's no artifacting in front of his face. I made a mistake. Dang it. So close. Okay, so avoid the hair. All right, I'm just re-trimming around his face. for the second time here. I have to be super careful here. Again, slightest mistake. That's pretty much it. That's it for you. Okay. Okay, I just moved everything that I wanted to shift. Okay, the hair is a little funny. I'm just eyeballing the hair here, trying to see what I'm working with. I think it would shift like that. And I think I'm gonna stick to the bottom layer. I'll take this pink, take the darker shade of pink. It's down on 1 point, yeah, 1 point pencil. I'm gonna shift it right there. I think that makes sense. All right. So I shifted the head down there. I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, it is. Awesome. So his head shifts down and over, or rather just down now. I'll do any tweaks I need to do later to make sure I did this properly. But for now, that looks good. So I'm going to save it, close it, back out 1 frame just to make sure. I can already see it there. I'm going to finish drawing that hair in. I think I deleted a pixel I shouldn't have deleted, which is this. I'm going to save it, close it. Let's back out. Yeah, there we go. The head fully shifts down now. Looks great, doesn't it? Okay. What's next? Because I want him to tighten up. Thinking his fists. Actually, his outer fist. I could tighten his outer fist. I want to tighten his outer fist up just a little. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab all of this. All of his fist, specifically. Just his fist. I want to copy, paste, shift it in. I just want his fist. I want his outer fist to shift in slightly. He don't need a lot of movement. He just needs some movement. So I'm going to shift, not shift, but delete the artifacting behind his fist there. I'm going to jump back to the top layer. I'm still on the eraser on 0 point. I'm going to delete anything that I'm not shifting on the hand. Okay, so I'm just trimming his hand and his glove. All right, it. There you go. That looks good. All right, save it, close it. Don't worry, I trust it. I know there's no artifact in there. Okay, back out. Awesome, I like that. Very slight movement. Yeah, I like that. Thinking here, should I do any fabric, any movement with the fabric or his hair? Like this, I could shift in. He's saying this is 001, and then 002, and then 003. 003 shifts down. This is the original, so this is the default. So 11-0 is the default frame. This is just him clenching his arms up. Peep his bicep too. See his bicep flex? So that's him just clenching his arm up. This is him moving inward slightly. And honestly, anatomy suggests that you would actually flex more muscle than this, specifically on the back of his arm. So I'm going to do a little tweak here. I know you guys probably have no clue what I just said. But I'm going to do a tweak here. Just a slight tweaking in the shading there to indicate that he's flexing the back portion of his shoulder, because remember his body's moving forward and he's it's just how the body works in tandem. Well, that's how muscle works in tandem. Okay, so the shift in, boom, see that flex? And then he's got even more of a flex here. So I don't know if I want more. I think I want more musculature here. So what I'm gonna do, just because I want more, I want him to look stronger. Because remember, he's tightening his muscles up. So I'm gonna do a little trickery here. I gotta get artsy fartsy, do actual artwork. I'm going to play around with the lighting and how his muscles would react to the lighting here. by increasing some things and decreasing others. I want to flex. I want a full flex too. I want him to really tighten up his bicep. Okay. I want some flex in here too. I didn't mean to do that, but I want more flexing. So I'm gonna blow this bicep up a little more. I think this will work. I want maximum muscle here. So like that, and then moving in like that. That's a full flex on that bicep. And in order to blow it up or make it look like it's really getting bigger here, I'm going to play with the lighting slightly right there. And no, that's fine. Thinking the back of his arm too. He can flex the back of his arm slightly too. And I remember I flexed his forearm too. I'm gonna do a little more flexing on the forearm also. But let me monkey around with the light here on his bicep. Big flex. Big flex. I want a giant bulge on his bicep there. Tweaking the lighting here on the forearm. He's got more of a clench on the forearm there. Thinking about something like that just to indicate, that he's tightening his arms up more. I thought about playing around with his fingers, maybe opening or closing his hands even tighter, but it's not a necessity right now. I think that's it. I think that's enough of a flex. Okay, so I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna close it. I'm just gonna hit the back for these sprites. Okay, look at that flex. Boom. See that musculature? Much better. I even thought about expanding his bicep out more towards his face, but I don't even think it's necessary. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I like that. And if I wanted to be smart here, which I do, I'm gonna open up triple two. I'm gonna edit just finagle the lighting slightly right above his bicep right there. I'm gonna save it, close it. That shows a little bit of the slight difference between this frame and the frame I just edited. So slight difference there with the light, and then boom, big flex. And then he goes back into his normal. So that's double 3-0, double 2-0, and double 1-0. And then zeros the start frame. Save it out, jump into the animation, open the animation. Remember, this is the idle. It was sitting on a static one frame. I'm going to tweak this. No more of that static one frame crap. I'm going to change the speed here. I want the speed, and remember, this is his crouching animation. I want the speed to be 5 for now. I'll do 5. I'm not sure if that's too slow or too fast. I have no clue. I'm going to triple it up, okay, for the 3 frames that I just made. And then I'm going to, well, that's the blink on the bottom. So I'm going to make another one, which is going to be the blink. I'm going to space this out here. Temporarily, I'm going to make this blink animation unreadable. This one's going to be called double 1-0, double 2-0, and then double 3-0. And then I believe, trying to think here. This is because double 3-0 is the full flex. And I think he has to go back into the initial position after this. So I'm going to put a 2 after the triple 3. And then I'm going to put a 1 after that triple 2. And then it should naturally flow back into his initial idle there. What was triple 1? These are my prep frames. I triple 1. So I need a 0 up front. So what I'm gonna do is put my 0 back up front there. Then I'm gonna delete this last frame, get rid of this. I'm gonna copy the whole set, paste the entire set underneath, do it one more time, and I'm thinking 4. And then the blink animation, I'm gonna make it active again, but I'm gonna highlight every, no, I almost made a mistake there. I'm gonna take this blink animation, cut it, put it over the initial 0 frame. Because remember, it's based on 11.0. Paste it there. Change the numbering there. Make it 5. Good. He's got a nice slow blink now. Delete what's left over. Okay. So loop start goes into the idle, full idle animation. All of this is gonna loop. He's got his blink. I think that's it. Apply, close. So I got a physics drop and I animated his crouch. Let's see what it looks like. Hmm. Uh, uh, so this frame, which is my double 3-0, and this is a blink. No, this is my idle. So what could I do to tweak this? I'm thinking double 3-0. I'm gonna extend double 3-0 out time wise. I'm gonna make it 15. I'm gonna do it for every one of them, and this will make him do a slight pause when he goes into his full flex. All right, I'm going to the front. Let's play it out. Much better. I like that. I like that he locks in. He locks in into his clenched up pose. See his arm? That flex is good too. Trying to think here though. That's a good speed. I think it's a good moderate speed. So there you go. Dan Hibiki's crouch animation has been tweaked for MVC2. I added a blink animation. I added the preparatory frames or the physics drops for the initial start, which is these 3. Boom, boom. See it? Well, 4 is those 4 frames. And then, of course, it goes into the new animated crouch. And that's pretty much it. That's how it's done, folks. God bless.